What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to more MSQ playthrough. It is quite early. I've just had some breakfast. We're gonna go ahead and pop into it. Let's see. I don't really have inventory space, but that's a soul crystal. You can't extract material from that. Dark Knight's level 79. We're about to hit 80. All right, let's go ahead and talk to Minfili. Got something in my eye. Oh, I'm sorry. I was stuck in my own head again. It's clear that Magnus has no intention of helping us, but perhaps we should ask the other residents. They may know something of the trolley. I'll take the north side of town. Let me know if you learn anything. Tancred, art thou truly content to stand witness to fate's course and take no part? This isn't a matter of fate, Urianche. It's about choice. I've had years to decide where I stand. Minfilia has spent too long in chains already. I would not shackle her again by making my hopes known. It's for her to choose what shape her destiny will take. It's for me to stay silent, protect her, teach her, and stand by her. That, at least, I can do for her. So be it. Come, let us make our own inquiries. This person above. Are they could? Oh, there they are. Oh, there you are. You'll be pleased to know that I got our friend back home with no trouble, and he's just fine. He was a bit shaken up. And you, what did Magnus have to say? Ah, I did have a faint hope that your need might prompt him to action where our interest has not, but I suppose that was foolish of me. I am sorry that we couldn't be of help, though. I could at least show you the trolley car we have here if you like. You could give it a stroke or two. It has some very smooth wood. You mean to say you're not giving up? Even knowing that Magnus is... Magnus? I don't see much point in your being stubborn about it, though. Perhaps stubbornness is exactly what the situation calls for. Can't forge iron without an anvil, after all. Can't imagine that anything you try will work, but if you're certain, you can help me make preparation in the event that it does. To that end, take this toolbox. We're going to inspect the rails. I'll have a look along the tracks for anything that's in need of repair. You bring the tools and be ready to hand them to me whenever I stop to work. Boomerang is huge. Oh, up there? You open the box, revealing the proud array of lovingly maintained tools within. Brilliant. Now, if you could hand me what I need for, as I work, that would be help. That would be help, Jesus. In this case, this bolt is loose for one matter. We can't have that. I'll need to tighten it. A mid-sized wrench. I don't see any other problems here. Let's continue along the track. Aether current. You set down the toolbox, the muscles of your arms enjoying profound relief, and open it once again. You're quite handy to have around, you know. As to the lamp here, these aren't often necessary these days, but if we're going to do this, we might as well do it properly. As if, as by some miracle, the night returns as it did in Lakeland. Well, it's a nice thought. Anyhow, a bit of this post seems to have splintered. Whether its lamp is to be lit or not, we wouldn't want these little pieces of wood jabbing the next person who comes through here to do maintenance. I'll need to sand it down a bit. A rough file. Yes, a wood file's perfect. Let me even this out. That should do it. I'll bring some varnish along next time to finish the job. I haven't spotted any other problems, so we can move along now. Unless you'd like to take in the view of the tracks from here a bit longer. It's breathtaking, I know. Mining has always been the primary vocation of folks in the hills of Amber, you see, but after a certain point they had dug up everything they could that could easily be reached and carried back by manpower alone. It was then that the Naboth Empire struck the idea of Talos, which they had seen at work abroad. At great expanse, the Naboth brought the Mistel engineers who specialized in Talos here to the hills, and wouldn't you know it, the mining industry picked right up again. The twine itself sprung up around that time, as a matter of fact. It was named after the entwining of tales, the fruitful cooperation between the native Ronso and the newly come Mistel. But that, like so much else, fell apart in the wake of the flood. The Mistel left, taking their knowledge with them. It was 15 years ago that the last of them, the folks from Daedalus Stoneworks, took off from the Uemor, and now no one remains that can repair and operate the Talos. But there's no use in lamenting what can't be changed. And there's one more thing we need to do while we're out here, so we might as well get to it. Vultures occasionally make their nests on the tracks, you see, and it falls to us to remove them when they do. The creatures are angry when disturbed, which is natural, but nevertheless a danger to anyone passing by. It's not my favorite task, to be honest with you. As you may have noticed, I'm not terribly suited for confrontation. That said, would you follow the tracks north and remove any nests you find for me? I'll keep an eye on the things from here. One more to go. Oof, don't fall. Be a pain in the ass to get back up here. Thank you. That should be everything taken care of. In return for your help, I'll tell you a bit more about the trolley. Nothing that can get it started again, though. As I said, the only people who knew how to repair the Talos are long gone. When they left, the life began to bleed out of the town. The trolley's tracks rusted, and its cars fell into disrepair. Now, I was born in Twine, raised there. My first word was trolley. Damn it, and those were the worst years of my life. But then, about 7 years passed, Magnus and his wife returned to us. Magnus is a real, proper trolley engineer, and perhaps he would never have left in the first place if it hadn't been for his son. As you're well aware, Amarong is hardly the safest place, and Magnus wanted his child to grow up away from its dangers. It didn't help in the end. The Sea Eaters got the boy. Isn't that always the way? The child had always said that someday he wanted to see Magnus's trolley running again, so in his memory, they returned to Twine, started fixing those rusted rails and broken cars. It was going well for a time. Wicked white vultures. They back for revenge? Never mind. I don't want to find out. It was weird. It was like it went dark for a second, then nice work out there. Now you know the story of the trolley. Won't do you much good without the Talos, though. If there was even a single one that still functioned, things might be different, but, well, here we are. Not that it'll do you any good, but do we have a Talos we've been meaning to repair? I can show you if you'd like. It'd certainly be nice to hear something other than Magnus's griping for a change. Truly a most vexing state of affairs. I thought mayhap a closer examination might yield something of value. I see. The means to build Talos stone by stone are lost to us, 'tis true. But here before us slumbers a most fine specimen. Indeed, were it not for a few minor railings, it would be in working condition. It will likely require naught but few modest repairs and a suffusion of aether. Well, if you think you can get the thing up and running, far be it from me to stop you. But what exactly do you reckon is the problem? I should stress that I have performed only the most cursory of examinations, though such arcane constructs are not wholly unfamiliar to me, as I did suspect from the first. It is host to a network of veins through which aether floweth freely. Or so it would, were it not for several fractures which now impede said flow. How in the hell did you get all that from just a glance? I take it you've thought up a solution as well. To bridge these fissures requireth a material highly conductive to aether. Once in place, I believe it will be possible to restore the Talos to life. Might I prevail upon thee to acquire that which we require? Not far beyond the walls of Twine dwelleth a creature of living stone, the Devatage. Full sure am I that stone from such a being would prove most suitable to our needs. Very good. I shall have Thancred and Minfilia attend me in the remaining preparations. I spied but 3 obstructions to the flow of aether in the Talos, and thus you would press your mouse button too quickly. Would I ask you to provide 3 stones of the Devatage, and all else will be made ready upon thy return. Tancred and Minfilia will return ere long with the remaining supplies we require. Didst thou succeed in procuring stone from the Devatage? Fine specimens one and all. You have my thanks. We need now but wait for Tancred and Minfilia's return. From end to end, the paths which the Aether flow through the Talos have been duly mended. They but require sufficient endowment. It's not moving. Strange. The core refuseth to stir. I fear the condition of this Talos is more dire than I previously surmised. As a heart driveth blood through a man's veins, so doth the core Aether throughout the massive frame. Failing its repair or replacement, the Talos cannot be restored. So it was the heart after all. Thou didst foresee this outcome? Well, no, not exactly. We'd never gotten this far in trying to repair it, so we had no way of knowing the heart was the real problem. We tried to find another, in case things turned out as they are now, but... Jarek? This isn't really my story to share. Please, Jarek, if something went wrong, maybe we can help. All right. After all you lot have done for me, I suppose it's the least I can do. Right then, the Talos. Their hearts cannot be made of just any stone. You need a special sort with sufficient ethereal conductivity. Both it and the other materials used in the construction of Talos bodies are mined in the same place. That place, of course, being here, the Hills of Amber. And it was 3 years ago when she... No, I can't, I'm sorry. But you'll have to hear it from Thaf or someone else. Back to the tavern, then. Still here, eh? You can ask again, but the answer's the same. Our Charlies are... What? God damn it, Jarek. Could have at least finished so I wouldn't have to clean up your mess. Seeing how you made such quick progress in fixing that Talos and all, he was probably thinking you could help change things around here. And I think he may be right. Gather your friends, and I'll tell you what you want to know.
Magnus's wife was a miner, you know. Greatest prospector there ever was. When the golem heart started failing, she was the first to head out in search of more. Problem was, most of the veins ran dry ages ago, and finding fresh ones to tap's only gotten harder. But she wasn't one to be deterred. She just kept digging deeper and deeper. And then the mine collapsed. We labored day and night to clear away the rubble, but it took us 2 months to find her. To find her body. Magnus has never been the same since.
Where is he, if you don't mind my asking?
Ah, yes, well, if he's not here, there's only one other place he'd be.
What? Oh, you again. How many times must I tell you? The trolley won't run! We'd be better off dismantling the damn thing and selling the parts for scrap. Now, piss off back to wherever you came from. And don't let me catch you around here again.
What were their names?
My son was named Skuli. My wife, Agna. Being here with them, it beats going home. Home stopped being home when I lost them. I thought to try and drown my sorrows, but somehow the bottle's never deep enough.
No bottle is. Believe me, I know.
You've lost someone too?
Not like you. Not my own flesh and blood. I grew up an orphan, so I never really knew what family meant. Not until I met a man who offered to take me in and make me his pupil. He was a kindly soul, always looking out for me, like a father. Not that I appreciated that at the time, or anything else for that matter. But I finally had a family. And then I robbed a young girl of hers. I did my best to make amends, to offer her comfort. But the more I look back on it, the more I realize just how inadequate my efforts were. I let her down. That is why I refuse to let her legacy die. In the end, all we can do is press on, for those we have lost, for those we can yet save. And that requires your Talos. Please, Magnus. You are our only hope of reaching Nabarth Areng.
What rubbish.
She's not gone. No matter what you say or believe, she's not. We can still bring her back.
Full well do I know the pain of loss and how heavily it can weigh on one's heart. Nevertheless, there is but one way forward. We must needs procure a new heart for the Talos. F. Excuse me. Knowest thou any location wherein we might find the stone we require? No matter how scant the possibility, we would seize it. I told you near all of the veins were tapped dry years ago. Though I suppose if you really wanted to try, you may find something at Navi's leavings. It was opened well before Talos became commonplace, which is why the mining there was never quite as deep. When you get there, look for Guthorn. Tell him I sent you, but don't be surprised if he tells you the same thing. Thine assistance is most appreciated. MSQ, I think it best Thancred join thee in his search. Though he would be quick to deny it, his heart is in turmoil and his thoughts clouded. It would be unwise to ignore his distress. Off to somewhere, are you? At last, a lead on the stone we need to power the Talos. I can't very well have you go on your own. Lead the way. I'd say we're long overdue for a good turn. I can only hope the gods feel the same way. Now, Vivi's leavings was to the south, was it? Let's get going. The way you described it, I was expecting the place to be abandoned. Perhaps our fortunes are finally improving, though we should probably hear what Guthron has to say before we celebrate. Assuming we can find him, that is. Who are you? And what are you doing in here? Well, you should have listened to that. You're wasting your time. But this site is not as developed as the others, is it not? Surely there must be something left. I should explain. The stone you're looking for is Leonine. All the Talos in the Hills of Amber are powered using them. Or were, at least. Anyway, whatever's left, if anything, is too far below to be safely excavated. The deepest reaches of thine mine, we use Talos to keep the pathways from collapsing. They're still there, but they could give out at any time, which is why much of the mine is closed off. Then our only option is to search the higher levels to any fragments of Leonine that may have been overlooked. I suppose there may be one other way. Well, don't leave us in suspense. What you're asking for is a trade secret. I'll need to be duty compensated in exchange. Fine. What do you want? The other day I found a Vobert gold piece down in the mines. Bloody Vobert gold piece. And wouldn't you know it, I dropped the damn thing somewhere while I was working. Find it, and I'll tell you what you want to know. You drive a hard bargain, sir, but we'll take it. It seems we have our work cut out for us, MSQ. Thankfully, I have an idea on how we might hurry things along. As I'm sure you've noticed, despite their best efforts to illuminate the corridors, it's rather dark in here, meaning it would be that much harder to find a single coin hiding in the shadows. That's why I propose we use these, sun drops. They'll help the eye take in more light. Why don't you start your search further in? I can handle this area here. I'll retrace your steps after in case, and if you feel the drop's effects wearing off, I can give you more, so don't worry. Search the shadows but find nothing. Perhaps the gold piece lies elsewhere. You search the shadows but find nothing. Perhaps the gold piece lies elsewhere. As you search the shadows, a glint catches your eye. You turn over a rock and find the velvet gold piece. I was hoping he'd drop the gold piece somewhere closer to the entrance. More fool for me thinking Lady Luck was on our side. Or maybe she is. Yours, at least. In the end, my contribution was little more than my poor company. Come now, Thancred, you were far more prepared for this task than I. No more than usual, I assure you. I only managed to survive the Corothan wilderness and the Imperial capital by virtue of extensive preparation. A habit of mine since childhood, and one of my few positive traits which endeared me to Louis Soir, I imagine. It hasn't been easy finding ways to compensate for my condition. Every tool and trinket has proven vital to my continued success, such as it is. Had I chosen to pursue this arcane arts rather than espionage, well, I'd rather not think about it. As long as I have the means to protect those dear to me and to see my duties through, that's all that matters. Now, let's hurry and see that these are returned to Guthorn. The sooner we get back to Urianger and Minfilia, the better. You're back. Wait, does that mean... I'll be damned. You actually found it. Well, a deal's a deal. Don't think this means you'll find what you're after. To be honest, I wasn't sure you could pull it off. But you did, and I'm a man of my word. Come with me. Every time I step out of those mines, the sky seems to get brighter. I'd never leave them if the air wasn't so stale. You're not to come here to hear my grievances. You're after Leonine. First, I have to ask. You ever heard of rockworms? Rockworms? I know them by another name, though I'm fairly certain the locals call them knockers. Aye, they do. Whatever you want to call them, those little bastards may be the answer to your troubles. They can fit through cracks and crevices down where we could never hope to reach, and on occasion they come back with something valuable. They dig up leonine in the mines. It's a rare occurrence, but yes, that said, it usually amounts to no more than a few flakes. Well, our only other option sounds tantamount to suicide, so how can we draw out these rockworms? Over by that shack you'll find a bag of smoke bombs. Send off a few in the mines and you'll flush them out in no time. Once they're out in the open, knock them senseless and check their backs. Should warn you, this method of mining, you can never call it that. It's used as a last resort on account of what little they're like to bring back. You'll want to cover as much ground as you can if you hope to find anything of value. Assuming you do find something, bring it here and I'll have a look. We should split up if we're to cover more ground as he suggests. If you can cover these 3 areas on your map, I'll see to the pots between them. Okay, we got the supplies. I'm gonna open up my map so I can actually see. Oh, we're gonna go back in the mines. Okay. Does it have to be so close to the damn gnomes? Annoying ass bitch. Never be easy, can it? Seven of these fucking things? We're gonna skip ahead. I'm not gonna have the rest of the recording be just me doing this, so see you in a second. Alright, we're all done with the stupid shit. There you are. Find anything promising? Between the two of you, I'd say you've got quite the haul. Let's get comfortable, friends. It's going to take time for me to sift through all this.
You may not remember this about Arminfilia, but prior to founding the Path of the 12, long before the Scions, she was something of a miner. After her father died, Flamine took her in and taught her the trade. I think they were both seeking to fill the void left by a loved one. Maybe that's why she took to it so readily. Back in those days, I spent most of my time in the quicksand, or some other tavern, loosening tongues and gathering secrets. Occasionally, I'd catch a glimpse of her in the street, on her way home after another hard day's work. I always felt a wave of relief when I saw she'd come back safe, along with a pang of guilt at the fact I wasn't there to support her as I should have been. Simply speaking with her more than once in a blue moon would have been a good start, but I could never bring myself to do it. Instead, I threw myself into my work and became every drunkard's best friend.
I can imagine she thought too highly of you back then.
Not too highly, no. She once called me a wine-sodden wharf rat, which wouldn't have been half as galling had it not been so accurate. But that was a lifetime ago. Here and now, I have another chance to do things right, and I will not squander it again.
Hey, come and see what I found. You're not going to believe this.
That's actually not far off from what I thought he would sound like.
Tell me it's Leonine.
It is at that. You lot were born lucky. It's mostly broken pieces. But look at this.
This is a rather fine specimen.
It's been decades since we found anything approaching this big. But that's not all. There's an engraving on it.
Ah, these scratches here. They're a little hard to make out. To my beloved Magnus and Schoolie.
Yes! Do you see? It was a gift to Magnus from his wife. She found it. She really found it. She must have spent her final hours carving this message into the stone, in the hope that he might see it one day. Those rock-backed bastards must have made off with it before we could clear a path to her. It's fate that brought you here to find this stone. No other explanation. It makes me wonder what else might still be buried in these parts.
I didn't believe it had I not seen it for myself. What do you set in the Talos? Would you take it to Magnus? For 3 long years, he's believed she died for nothing. He must know the truth, that her sacrifice was not in vain. We'll take it straight to him, you have my word. Thank you, Guthron, for all your help. Right then, let's not keep everyone waiting. Oh, it's you. If you've come to complain about the trolley, you'll find no sympathy from me. I told you before it won't run, and you wouldn't listen. Oh, but it will, now that we have this. Your name is engraved on it, along with your son's. It was a gift from your wife, Magnus, from Agna. No. She couldn't have. Agna. Take it. Do with it what you will. Are you certain? It would delay our plans, but I said take it. It was you who found it. You who needs it. Looking at that stone, all I can see is... Please, just leave me be. I hope you'll be there when the Talos stirs to life. I'm sure she'd want you to see it. Would you do the honors of delivering this to Uriache? Sorry, yawning. Oh. Where are you going, Thancred? Oh, he's here. Thou art returned, and with Leonine it would seem, as promised, the Talos hath been made ready to receive its heart, thanks in no small part to Jarek, Thaf, and Minfilia. At last we shall return time to the timeless, this sentinel of stone, that we may press on towards Nabatha-Rang. Very good. Now, let us begin.
Preparations for the enchantment are complete. When the heart hath been suffused with a sufficient quantity of ether, the golem should be restored to life.
The golem?
All right then. Whenever you're ready. It's working. Magnus.
You left me for this? This wretched heap of stone and rubble? This worthless pile of earth? And yet... I can't. I can't.
What troubleth thee, child?
I shouldn't be here. I don't deserve to be. I don't deserve any of the things you've done for me. I'm just a burden, helpless and hopeless. If tomorrow came and I was gone, it would be better for everyone. Thancred most of all. He'll never admit it, but I can see it in his eyes. I wish he'd just say it. Just say that he hates me, that he wishes I was dead so that she could return.
None of this is thy doing, child. 'Twas I who set the oracle on her path unto the first. I who condemned you all to suffer these torments. 'Tis my sin alone, and one that will haunt me unto my dying day. Yet I dare not dwell overlong on my many regrets, for the world is a tapestry of fates, interwoven and inseparable. And we who strive to better it cannot choose but make difficult decisions. For naught of worth was ever achieved without sacrifice, and thus must man ever struggle to weigh life against loss. The one for whom thou mournest beareth no grudge. Were she here, she would not suffer thee to languish in sorrow. She would tell thee to seek thine own path, thine own purpose. It is a truth which I myself was slow to learn. Yet a truth it remaineth. Thou needst but have faith, and all will be well.
Go to her.
Not today.
Meanwhile, in the Crystarium,
To what do I owe the pleasure that is your extended stay?
Oh, to the tediousness of our hero's present endeavors. That and the insufferable abundance of light in Armorang. I should be glad to keep my distance. I'm rather fond of sleep, you know. It's a wonderful way to pass the time. Not that my compeers would agree, mind you. Always on the move, the lot of them. Like La Hebrea, constantly jumping from vessel to vessel. Such fire, such determination. So much passion, fleeting and forgotten. Come to think of it, Exarch, I don't believe I've ever seen you retire to your chambers for so much as 40 winks. However do you keep your eyes from closing? The cold shoulder. You wound me, sir. Always so guarded in our every interaction. Interactions you curiously refrain from sharing with the Scions and their champion.
And risk souring your budding relationship? I think not. Much as I dislike you, there are more useful targets for his energies. And I'm not in the habit of pointing him at my enemies like a weapon.
Is that right? Fond of him, are you? You continue to fascinate me, Exarch. But tell me, who are you? The once great nation whose ingenuity gave birth to this tower was shaped by my hand. As such, I know full well the wonders it can facilitate and those it cannot. There is nothing in these walls which could have aided you in summoning our dear friend across time and space. Much less in possession of his mortal flesh, not even I could have performed such a feat.
I see. You had a hand in Allag as well. You would know what I am? I am the adjudicator of the sacred history with which you dared trifle. I am keeper of this tower's boundless wisdom. The wisdom of ages without age, of everywhere and nowhere. The great work of those who tamed the wings of time and grasped the nature of the rift. 'Tis a boon born of sacrifices yet unmade. The parting gift of brave heroes who will one day give their lives for a brighter future. I will not see their hopes and dreams squandered. The history which led us here will be unwritten. I promise you that.
Well, it seems we're both eager to fulfill our duties then.
On that much, we are in agreement.
I want to get to the point where we figure out who he is. All right, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the journey. I know it's been kind of a slogfest with everything that we're doing here with the freaking trolley, and believe me, it's bugging me too. It's like, can we just get to Nabath Orang already, for Christ's sake? But we'll see you in the next one.